Hello, everyone, and welcome to another All Blaze No Glory special. I'm joined by Craig Anderson from Nottinghamshire. He's a Browns fan. How are you doing, Craig?
I'm very well, thank you.
Thanks for joining us, albeit a little late tonight. So tell us a bit about how you became an NFL and a Browns fan.
It kind of started, I would say, is I've always been an NFL fan, but I've never really had a team that I would say I followed. I was kind of more of a baseball fan. So I was a Cleveland Indians baseball fan. So it kind of migrated from, instead of just being a general sports fan on an NFL team, well, why not follow the team of the one you already follow in a different sport? So that's kind of how it was in about, I would say, about 1994. So that was the era when Bill Belichick was there.
Wow. So it's a very long time. So you remember them going away and then coming back again and stuff?
Yes. Yeah, kind of having Bill Belichick, having that fantastic season of, I believe it was 11-5. And then the season after, it went the other way around. We went 5-11, I believe it was. And then obviously that was kind of the turnaround to where the decline of obviously towards the end of them leaving, I suppose, in a sense, of Cleveland.
Yeah. So it's unusual to meet many fans that have been invested in a team so long, but what was it like when they left? Did you follow another team, or did you just kind of become a neutral?
No, I think obviously with obviously when it all happened and obviously the team was going no matter what was going to happen, I kind of never really followed in a sense. I concentrated more on watching the Indians play baseball again, and obviously with the World Series and came quite close in those ones. Did a little bit of Cleveland Cavaliers with the basketball team. Obviously, another great franchise to follow with not much history, to be quite honest with you. But I suppose I never really thought, I'm going to go and watch another NFL team. I didn't think it felt right, to be quite honest with you. And then when they made the decision to obviously give them the franchise back, it was like, well, that's it, all in again, I suppose.
It's cool. And the good thing about Cleveland is, unlike the Winnipeg Jets that went away and came back again, Cleveland kept its history. So, Winnipeg are like sort of were someone else before they were Atlanta and all the rest of it. So
yeah, I suppose that's right. Obviously, when the decision was made to go to Baltimore, obviously the old Cleveland Browns became the Baltimore Ravens, but the Cleveland Browns stayed in Cleveland Browns until the team eventually turned back up. So all the record and all the history was just waiting for another team to eventually turn up in there. So it was only probably 1999, I believe it was, when they came back. So it was only a 3 years absence. I suppose it could have been a lot longer, but as soon as they rolled back into town, it just turned it back on again, and it was there ready to go.
And you obviously mentioned the baseball team in Cleveland and the basketball team as well. Is there a theme with Cleveland? Have you got family there, or did you?
No. I've got no family in America or anything like that. I suppose it was obviously Major League, the film, obviously with Charlie Sheen in. Obviously, I like baseball. It's quite a simple game to follow. You know, it's a team sport that it's based on a team sport, but it's one individual up there. It's you against the pitcher or a pitcher against the batter. So it's kind of an individual sport team. And I kind of got involved in baseball where it's quite simple to watch. It is a long game, don't get me wrong. It can go past 9 innings and it can drag on. But coverage-wise in this country, when it was in the early 90s, it was very hard to get hold of. So just to follow baseball was quite more in the mainstream than NFL to kind of get hold of and watch. And I still enjoy watching baseball to this day, to be quite honest with you. And basketball is more, I wouldn't say you can sit me down and I'll watch a game from start to finish, because it can be quite backwards and forwards. But if I follow a team I didn't fancy following a team in one city and then think, I'm going to pick a team from this city and a team from that one. It was just literally, they've got 3 teams there. Might as well just follow all 3 in a sense.
Yeah. I kind of wish I'd done that with the Rams and stuck in LA rather than being a Sabres fan. But then I was a Sabres fan first, so they're awful at the moment. Yes. Cool. The other thing is, I've been picking these backgrounds for all these things. I picked the dog head one rather than the helmet. Are you a fan of the helmet being a logo, or do you do you prefer them having something a bit more going on with maybe this dog head behind me?
I kind of like, obviously this year's, I believe, is the 75th anniversary. So a lot of the things they're doing the alternative uniform where they're going to be playing in white. And some people was having rumours about having a symbol on the helmet. For me, when it's a background like that, to me, that's fine because it's the dog pound. It's what they're known for. But for a helmet and things like that, I'm just quite happy with a plain and simple orange and brown.
Fair enough. Anyway, looking ahead to this season, which is just around the corner now. I think someone mentioned yesterday was the last Sunday without NFL until the 20th of February. Obviously an extra week this year.
Yes.
So looking at the AFC North, I think this or the NFC West, one of the two, are the best division in football. I mean, okay. Yeah. I mean, you can kind of cast the Bengals to one side, I suppose, for this season, but they could take a few scalps with Burrow and stuff. So how do you see the AFC North playing out? I mean, what do you think of like the other teams? This is a chance for 3 playoff teams, do you think?
Yeah, I do agree with that. Because obviously last season with the Bengals, obviously with the Joe Burrow situation going off with him, they've got a lot of rebuilding going on, in my opinion. Ourselves, we're just continuing on from last season. Kept the same coaching staff, same offensive line, obviously new defensive players coming in. But obviously when you look at the team, you've got the issues with kind of Baltimore, with Lamar Jackson, such a fantastic player. And obviously you've got the COVID still happening, obviously with the isolation and things. And Steelers, Roethlisberger, for as good as he was last season, that playoff game was just, I could not believe when I watched the first 5 minutes of the playoff game to watch a quarterback of his caliber have a game like what he did. And I think there is possibility that 3 playoff teams will come from this AFC North, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think that's fair. The only concern I suppose you maybe have as a Browns fan is because the Steelers in Baltimore are so strong, they might kind of beat each other up a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah. Hopefully not with their helmets, like a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah, that was an experience to behold when I saw that on the game.
Yeah. So if we go around the teams a little bit and we just chat about them, we'll start with the Bengals. Obviously, Mike Brown's other team. How do you think they'll fare this year? I mean, what sort of record would you think they might end up with, and why?
Obviously, been trying to think about this, and it's kind of strange to get your head around. There's an extra game, so where you would say a team might go 6-10, you've now got to factor in there's an extra number in there to think of. I do think probably the Bengals. Burrow's a fantastic player, and some of the players they've still got. I would probably say they'll be the 4th in the division, and I think they'll probably get about 6 wins, in my opinion, in that division. I then think Steelers will be 3rd, obviously depending on what happens with Chase Claypool. Had a fantastic season last season. Obviously they've lost, I believe, Connor, the running back, I believe, is gone, and a few changes there. They've still got a fantastic head coach with Tomlin, with how many seasons he's kept with a winning record. They'll be 3rd, and obviously it's between us and the Ravens. And I think we've got a period where we will play the Ravens, we have a bye week, and then we have the Ravens again. And I think that bye week, when we haven't got a game, I believe the Steelers may play the Ravens. So potentially there's 3 games there that can make or break one team's season. And when we're not playing, if it is the Steelers and the Ravens, they're going to be pounding each other and weakening each other up. So it's going to work in our favour. But I think for ourselves, I've gone for a 12-5 this season for the 17-game season, of a continuation of what happened last year.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I was quite bold with I stuck an ack on for the first week and had the Browns beating the Chiefs. So we'll see how that plays out. Might be a little bit ballsy.
When it was the preseason and everyone was going out, when the games were going to be announced, I just thought it's on the cards for us to get the Chiefs. That would be fantastic to get the Chiefs because obviously what happened at the end of the season, we was riding high. We got the Chiefs in the playoffs, and to get them the first game, probably the first game is the best time to play them. I really, really do.
Yeah, I think so, and I think there's how they'll cope start of the season. How rusty they'll be, but also if it doesn't go the Browns' way, it kind of gets a monkey off their back straight away, and they don't have to worry about a big game with the Chiefs later on. They can just concentrate on the rest of it, because the Chiefs arguably are the AFC champions, or at least booked an AFC championship game with the Bills in everyone's head.
Yeah.
So to get that out of the way would be pretty important, I think. So yeah, you've mentioned kind of the order they go in. I mean, if you have to call it, are you backing the Browns? Or are you thinking maybe as a Browns fan you'd be quite content with them being second and flying under the radar a little bit?
Yeah, I suppose obviously you can finish second and still get the wild card and still go through that way. So it'd be nice to actually finish the top of the division. But I wouldn't be upset if we finished second and got through again. Obviously, it just determines obviously home and the road games, but no qualms in finishing in second place and still getting through. If it was only the top team goes through, then obviously that's a different story. But yeah, second place, get through the playoffs, that's fine for me.
Yeah. Now, looking around the teams, I mean, I think we probably all agree that with the Bengals, the key player is Burrows, given his status. But who are the sort of key players for, say, the Steelers? I mean, you mentioned Claypool and Roethlisberger, but they've got some big names on defense like TJ Watt and the like. Yeah. Are they as important as Roethlisberger and the like?
Yeah, I think obviously offensive-wise, obviously Roethlisberger is obviously, if he's not playing for quarterback, who have they got in a sense? I do think he's not mobile. They're going to rely on a running game, and obviously they are still with Chase Claypool. I think for them will be, and obviously Juju is still there, so they're still going to have threats. It's just is Roethlisberger going to have the arm to be able to make the big plays, or are they going to keep it small, keep the numbers low, and just slowly grind up the pitch in a sense?
Yeah. I mean, I think Najee Harris is their new running back, obviously the rookie.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on. Some people I think have got him pegged as being offensive rookie of the year, but obviously got quarterbacks to overcome. I have actually been making inquiries with Paddy Power about Devonta Smith, but I've still not heard back yet. So see how that goes. In terms of the Ravens, obviously Lamar is a big key factor in their offense. But do you think their offense is improved, or is it still kind of one-dimensional, run the ball first, come what may?
Yeah, it's kind of with Jackson, you know what you're going to get. It's like when people say, should we have drafted Jackson in the same draft when it was Baker Mayfield? What would we have been like if we would have got Lamar Jackson? For me, you're playing with an extra running back and not a quarterback in a sense. So for the Baltimore offense, I think it's suited to them, and I believe it's going to be a run offense for them. So if you can kind of slow him down and get in the gains by his feet, you're forcing him into the throws. And I think with our secondary, especially in our division, is with some of the players that we've signed, I think that'll play in our favour. Yeah.
And then with the Browns, is it the players that are the key, or is it the coaching staff? Because we saw that with very little change to the players, their record changed vastly with new coaching staff.
Yeah, I think for ourselves it's the consistency of when Kevin Stefanski came in. I believe they only retained 2 coaches, so they kept Stump Mitchell and Mike Prefer. Everyone else went. So everyone's come in with big resumes. You've got Callahan, you've got O'Shea's come in. So he's brought coaches in, with a specific onus on a team of coaches in a sense. It's not just a head coach, it's a team of coaches. And I think going into this season, obviously coach of the season for Kevin Stefanski, but to retain the entire coaching staff, I think that will be the key. We're now on a second season under his program in a sense. So I think that will be the key. It's just consistency. Everyone knows what they're going to be doing. And even when you look at the 16-team practice squad, majority of those are players that have been on the roster last season, been on waivers this season and have come back. So when you have injuries or even COVID, for example, that's still going to be happening, the players we're going to call up are already in that mindset of what they need to do. So I think it's a 53-man roster, a fantastic coaching staff, and you've kind of got a B team in a sense with your practice squad who can just fill in those gaps. So it doesn't matter if somebody can't play, the next man up is going to do the job for you.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it. Now, in terms of we mentioned some of the players and stuff. One thing that always gets thrown around is obviously Baker Mayfield, and there's been questions about Baker Mayfield, rightly or wrongly. But as a Browns fan, you know, taking your loyalty to him after last season, is he for real, or was that a flash in the pan last season?
I think it's kind of strange because last season, obviously, with the injury to Odell Beckham Jr., obviously, that kind of people said that changed the way we played because he wasn't relying on he has to throw to OBJ. He's using the other players on the team. But I just think what you get with Baker Mayfield is what you see. He wears his heart on his sleeve. And I think having him as our pick and our first quarterback is the way to go. I do think that looking at what we've seen on social media through the preseason games, because obviously now they only play 3 and not 4, he's still been there. He's still in the background. He's still cheering on his teammates. So he looks like he will be the leader for this team. And I think it's the right choice that I'm definitely think, in my opinion, I'm behind him to be with this team.
Cool. Looking sort of more outside the division, then, who are you penciling in for the 13th of February next year as the Super Bowl teams?
What for the actual, just the main Super? I would love to say ourselves. I really, really would. If it's not ourselves, then I do believe it's going to come from the Chiefs or the Bills. I just think the Chiefs are the team to beat. Bills, Josh Allen last season was absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then obviously on the NFC side of the things is you can't really look past the Buccaneers. They've retained literally all their team. They've all signed on again. So same again like ours, you've got consistency. Tom Brady's got the bit between his teeth. He's going to keep playing until he can keep playing, in a sense, until he's told to stop. It's either that or even the Rams, in a sense, even though they've lost 2 good players to ourselves in Troy Hill and obviously John Johnson III, and I believe they've lost their defensive coordinator, they're still going to be a team to beat in that across there. So I would say if it can't be the Browns in the Super Bowl, then I think for me, as a touch would be the Bills after getting to 4 consecutive Super Bowls and coming away with nothing. It would be nice for a team to actually go there and actually prove it.
Yeah, and as a Browns fan, and I might be wrong here, but I don't think the Browns have made the Super Bowl. Do you think that's worse than the Bills, who've made four in a row and never won any?
It's kind of funny that, because my eldest son's a Patriots fan, so he always takes the mickey out of me. Well, at least we won a Super Bowl. So I mean, he's only 14 years old, so I'm like, what do you know, kind of thing, joking at him. But yeah, do you really want to get there and lose and say, oh, we've made it, we've done it, or not to have one? It's a horrible thing to say, but to be proud that we've never lost one, but we've never been there. So it's kind of like, if we're going to go there, I want to win it. If we're going to make one appearance, then you might as well make the appearance and come away with it all, than rather go there and come away with nothing, in a sense.
Fair play. I do know that Cleveland, I think, have got an NFL title in the Cleveland Rams before they moved to LA, won the NFL. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure the Indians, as they will be known for the last time this year, have a few major league titles. But it would be nice to see the Browns, I think, strut their stuff, because they've got a really loyal fan base, and
Yeah, I suppose it's like I say, when you've had the 3-year period of no team, and then they've come back, but they've stuck by them full stop. And when you look at some of the games and you look at the dog pound and the noise that comes through it, even when the Cavs won the NBA title a few years ago, it was just the town. It was, the city itself, the support it got. So it would be nice to actually do that on the NFL side of things. Yeah,
definitely. So you gave me your Super Bowl teams there as well, so that's handy. Now, yesterday was a fantasy draft day for me, and I wanted to bounce this off another NFL fan. I had a choice when it came down to picking the quarterbacks of picking Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, and I went Mahomes. Did I make the right choice?
If both players were available at that time, then I would say Mahomes, yes. I definitely would go for Mahomes because I just think if both players were available at that time, then myself, I would definitely go for Mahomes because he can just, it's kind of like a magician in a sense. You just know something's going to happen with him. You really do. But yeah, I do think that is the right choice.
And then secondly, first overall pick in my second draft was Travis Kelce, and I had the first overall pick. Was that a good choice, or should I have went running back as is the convention?
You see, when I've done them before, I've often thought if that option came up as number one, I would have done exactly what you've just done. I just think running backs you can swap out in between, obviously injuries and the waiver wire in a sense, I suppose. But yeah, I would have definitely done the same choice. So if I had that as my first round pick, I would have done that.
Cool. Right, and just since you mentioned baseball, obviously we know the Cleveland are going to be the Defenders next year. Names change, such as what happened with Washington as well in the NFL. What do you think of the new name? I'm not sure I'm quite sold on Defenders being the best name they could have come up with, but what are your thoughts on the new name?
Oh, for the baseball team, well, it's the Guardians, isn't it, in a sense?
Oh, sorry, I don't know where I came up with Defenders. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, it's the Guardians. It's kind of I would have just been happy just to have Cleveland, like Washington football team. I'd have been just quite happy to be called Cleveland baseball team. What more do you need to say? So I like badges, I like the symbols. Like when you look at the teams and you look at the designs and you go to alternatives, don't know what this one's going to be. There's rumours about they're going to keep one half of the Indians and just obviously add Guardians to that part. But for me, I'd have been quite happy just to have just been the Cleveland baseball team. Just kept it short and sweet.
Fair enough. Yeah. It was an odd one. I mean, I know they're a lot of these things are coming up, and and quite rightfully so. If it's causing offense to people, they need to change things. But it just was just a kind of odd name for me. The Guardian, sorry, the Defenders was something that was bashed out for Washington, possibly.
Yeah, I mean, there's like rumours about being called the Cleveland Spiders again, which was an old name that they used to go to. Which I don't like the sound of that. I probably like the Guardians better. I know the Guardians is tied to the bridge that's in Cleveland itself, the Guardians on the bridge, but I'd have just been quite happy just kept kind of like Washington, just call them Cleveland, and I've done with it.
Right, fair enough. So looking at the NFL season, obviously Cleveland starts off with Kansas City. Are you got all your beers in? You got your snack plan for the game?
Unfortunately, I'm working that evening, so I'm going to miss it. So at work, I'm not going to have any contact with my phone. So when I come home, I'm just going to be able to concentrate on it and then enjoy it. Ideally, get a win. But first game, like I said, first game of the season, anything can happen. As long as we get that performance, hit the ground running, then 0-1 into the second game, it's not the end of the world, in my opinion.
Yeah, and for that first game, over under combined sacks for Clowney and Garrett, 2.5. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Bucs kind of showed how to get to their offensive line and Mahomes in the Super Bowl. So I'm hoping with those two players on the offensive line, there's going to be some challenges coming in on that one.
Very diplomatic. You avoided the over/under question of that, but fair enough. I'll let you off. But thanks so much for your time tonight. As I say, I'm so sorry that I was late.
No, fine.
And I'm sure I'll keep you in mind for future reviews. We're going to try and do some quarter season reviews on the channel as well. So we'll get you back involved. We can see where the Browns are at. I really do hope, as much as I'm not like an out and out Browns fan or anything by any stretch of the imagination, I really do hope they have a good season, because I've got a bit of a soft spot for them. They gave me a ball once. It went at Twickenham, so you know that I'm easily bought. I mean, hopefully. I don't like the Steelers either, so it kind of helps that the Browns are in that division.
Yeah, it's kind of when you look in that division, you've got obviously the Bengals who are in your own state, I suppose. The Ravens were the Browns; they moved across, but Steelers are the ones that, definitely they're the ones that you want to go for.
I think short of the Patriots and maybe the Cowboys, they're probably one of, outside their own fan base, obviously the most hated teams in the NFL.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah, cool. Anyway, thanks so much for your time. Do you want to give a shout out to anyone that might watch this?
Well, no, obviously, like I said, this is the first time we've done it, so hopefully after this, get the confidence to do some more. And but yeah, really good doing this. Really enjoyed it.
Brilliant. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.